In 2008, Delhi High Court decriminalized homosexuality. It is called Indian Penal Code Section 377, which says being a gay, lesbian, transgender, homosexual is not crime in India.
यहाँ पे कोई लतीफ नहीं है और कोई पूजा नहीं है और कोई दायना नहीं है यहाँ पे जो है एक रुद्रानी है
Rudrani Chettri runs an LGBT charity that seeks to raise awareness about the discrimination that transgenders face. In a bid to challenge common perceptions about the community, she recently launched what is India's first transgender modeling agency.
So, whole idea of transgender modeling agency was, why not transgender do something which they like to do? So why can't they do something which they enjoy actually? Why you have to think in a way of sympathetic, or why you have to think in a way that, I mean, this is only what they are good for? So I've seen people, I mean, why the government and other people in other sectors can't think of, okay, I mean, we are especially talking about hijras here, or transgender male to female. They will spend their half of life trying to look beautiful, more feminine, you know, more graceful. So why not use this talent as their occupation? पैसा है ही नहीं मेरी ज़िंदगी में, कहाँ से पैसा आएगा, कौन पैसा देगा? टीआई चलाती हूँ, टीआई में क्या कहाँ से पैसा है?
But generating business has been an uphill task. The social stigma attached to the community often turns advertisers away. Over time, this has led to poor morale among Rudrani's models.
They appreciated the fact that, you know, we are doing something very nice, and they're, oh, I mean, we are really, really happy what you're doing, and, you know, this is commendable, and you should go ahead, do good, and, you know, take. But we are a little worried about, you know, if we'll give you work, if we'll, you know, if we'll ask you to endorse any of the product of ours, what will happen to the, you know, brand value of that product? If some pretty looking, you know, TV actress is endorsing something and people may like to buy it, but if a transgender is doing it, people might think like, okay, this group, if she, I mean, maybe if I'll use this cream, I'll become one transgender. So the fear was like, you know, it might give bad name to the product.
With the models struggling to find enough work, they are left with few options.
अगर किसी की अच्छी एजुकेशन है तो उसे तो डेफिनेटली जॉब मिल ही जाएगी लेकिन जिसकी एजुकेशन नहीं है तो वो बेचारा कहाँ जाता है उसके पास फिर एक ही दो रास्ते रह जाते हैं एक ये कि वो टोली ज्वाइन कर ले राइट और दूसरी ये है कि वो प्रोस्टिट्यूट बन जाए
Many of them return to tasks like begging on the streets and dancing at festivals, weddings, and other occasions at people's homes. In fact, some of them have even turned to prostitution. Joining us in the studio right now is Rudrani herself. Rudrani, first of all, welcome to Wion. We appreciate you coming here and chatting with us. Let's start by asking you, why did you specifically choose to set up a modeling agency?
See, modeling agency was not something which, you know, which was planned. It happened. I mean, when I saw the judgment, you know, many things which was happening and which were very progressive, and people were, you know, I don't know whether this is true or not. People showed the gesture. It was kind of a gesture where people were open to transgender, and they showed that they really want to do something for transgenders. Then I said, like, why not transgender modeling agency where transgender people can, you know, try and take this as their occupation? Why not? I mean, why they have to do something which, you know, other people are thinking for them? For example, they think, okay, oh, they are good for, you know, you can just give them a sewing machine, or you can, you know, teach them a work of a parlor. Why don't this person can sit on a chair and, you know, get makeup and be a, you know, a model herself?
Right.
I mean, this is what my idea was.
And so through the package, we saw how difficult things are right now. But really speaking, from the time of the inception of the agency, what were the main challenges you faced in setting it up?
See, first of all, it is quite, you know, difficult because I'm not someone who's a professional. This was something which comes from my personal life. You know, when I used to travel, I love traveling, and I used to take my own pictures. And when I used to post it and show it to other trans friends of mine, they really liked it, and they said, why do you pose like, you know, model? You look like a model. I was young at that time. So, and I saw this spark in them, and they wanted to do the same kind of a thing. but they were never having, they were not having such what you can say confidence to say and come out and be loud about, okay, this is the occupation we also want to get in. They always thought like we are only good enough for sex work, or we are only good enough for begging. So this was a bit challenge for me, where people were trying to struggle to earn their bread and butter, a daily survival,
Right.
to give them something which they have been dreaming for a very long time, and which may not give them any kind of earning. So this is very challenging. Until date, this is a challenge for me.
So when you set it up, where exactly, for our viewers, give us an idea of where you're based out of Delhi, was finding a place to set the modeling agency difficult, or are you running it out of your own home and your own expenses? Give us an idea.
See, what I've been doing, I'm not only running this transgender modeling agency for quite a long time. For almost 10 to 15 years, I've been running this organization called Mitra Trust, which is Delhi's community-based organization for sexual minorities, and we do a lot of other things. Not only we work on health and other issues, whichever is the concern, or whatever is the concern of the community. So we use the platform of Mitra to to do something new and do something innovative. I don't know how vague this idea of innovation is, because by innovation people think, I mean, what different you want to do, and how it will bring a change. But I wanted to do something different, not only for myself, the other people, because majority of people who were dropping into my center, they always like the idea where two things were kept in front of them. They always choose the pictures of mine and other people who I shot there, and they said, oh, we want to do the same thing.
Right.
We want to do the same thing instead of doing something else. And I said, like, oh, there are a big number of people who really want to do this, but of course this is not giving you any earning. So, but the platform was the resources which we used was organization of ours, Mitra Trust, where we started this.
All right. You mentioned while we were speaking a little earlier the fact that the routes of employment seemed already predestined for a lot of people. You said sex work or begging. Do you think that the judgment by the High Court changed the conversation and really the semantics around the transgender community?
I'm a little disappointed, because after the judgment, after the Supreme Court judgment, see, we were not expecting things will change in one day, but the things change and changed, but how people started behaving with us, that changed. But the facilities, the resources, nothing else changed.
All right.
So this is what the problem was. From the next day of the judgment, people who were were seeing us on roads and while doing Toli Badai and doing other stuff, they were like, okay, now you have rights, go and work. Without using their brain that, okay, for any job, you have to be qualified, you have to have a minimum education. This is how you get a job.
In fact, one of your models mentioned that in the package as well. So there's a certain respect that comes with education, but in order to receive that education, a certain kind of infrastructure has to be in place as well. We'll talk more about the Supreme Court order as well as the legality issues. But in your experience running the agency under Mitra Trust, who's more reluctant to employ transgender models? Is it the advertisers themselves, or do you think the reluctance comes from the average person?
I don't think so. I mean, the viewers, the audience, I mean, they are very happy, and they'll really appreciate. And this is what people have been telling when I go and talk to them. But it is the agencies, the companies, the advertising people who says, I mean, this is going to affect our revenue, and this is going to do some kind of big damage to our our product,
right?
Which is just their notion. I mean, just give a try. I mean, you're not even willing and trying to give this to do this. I mean, I'm not saying do it for an experiment, do it for just a social cause. For example, if Supreme Court has given us this right, and as a third gender person, and they say we have we can go and work any place we want according to our experiences. So I think we have a tourism department in our country, which is run by our Indian Tourism Department. I mean, of course, they can take our models. Why don't they take it? I mean, there are different people, there are different sections who can start. At least there has to be a beginning.
Since we are talking about public attitudes, we actually conducted a social media poll to find out what people think about products endorsed by transgender models. Now, in our poll, we found that a majority of the people responded saying that they would be happy to buy such products. Apart from that, we also went out on the streets of Delhi to gauge public opinion on this issue. Here's what we have found out.
For sure that people relate it to the person who is selling it, but at the same time I would say that this thought process should change.
The product is manufactured by a company, not by the transgender, so we should not think like that we'll become like them.
Time has changed. People do not believe in what one has. One is male, female or transgender, and if the product is good, one will go for that.
Yeah, I will obviously buy it because they are also persons. They are not. They shouldn't be discriminated on the basis of what they are. They are just human beings, just like us. So I will definitely buy it.
For me, especially, it makes no difference. I think everybody can have access to same things. If a man or a woman or a transgender, if wants to buy, it's completely normal. Doesn't change anything.
I don't think that there should be people who should refrain from this buying. I think now we are all living into an era where we should promote these things and we should not be biased into these things. We should definitely promote, and we should think of.
I would be, surely, because my first point is that they are very much a part of the society, and as the newer generation or kids, they would ask questions and we have to accept them.
Rudrani, your reactions, I mean, this pretty much affirms what you said a little while earlier. But do you think people sometimes say different things when they're on camera but actually have beliefs that might be contrary?
I mean, most of the time I find it very tokenistic how people react. But but this is nice. I mean, it was a mixed group of people. There were all aged people, and I really liked. And they were not talking about genders, but they were talking about equality.
Yes.
Where we live in this democracy, we live in a country where everybody is having this right. And one gentleman rightly said, if everybody has the right to buy it, and everybody has a right to sell it as well, and everybody has also right at the same time to endorse the product. Why not? I mean, if tomorrow somebody says, just because you're a transgender, you cannot buy our products, I mean, this will be a very difficult country to live in. And as a country, as a India, I mean, we see things are very progressive, and new generation and other people, I see them very progressive, and I'm very hopeful when I see such kind of bites and comment from people who are outsides.
All right. So in your experience, do you feel that this is perhaps a fairly legitimate assessment of a metropolis, for instance, like Delhi, where people have these opinions, but maybe demographics and where exactly you're placed in the country might also alter the way people respond to the community?
See, it makes a difference. I'm not going to say everywhere, and it's going to be similar. There will be a uniform kind of a reaction, but there will be ups and downs. But of course, there is also learning from what other states are doing and other places. How they are progressing when it comes to equality. Delhi has been getting bad names for many reasons. For example, when I am in Delhi, I get, too many ticks when it comes for different reason. Okay, you're bad. But for example, we can start something, we are also good in. I mean, for example, Delhi is having a transgender modeling agency and they're getting work. I mean, this is one good thing, and you're talking about equality. I'm not going to, take name of other state, how they are doing and what they are doing, what's wrong with them. But I think there are little bit ups and downs everywhere, and there are little lesser, and things are everywhere. So I think this is important, and everybody needs to understand this.
All right, so clearly there has been a change in attitude, and perhaps that attitude may be present more in certain cities than in others, but as Rudrani is pointing out, that in itself shows that there is a welcome change in people's perception towards the community. We're going to continue our conversation with Rudrani after this very short break. Don't go anywhere.